studio with Bethany Dixon from her own company called Ever So Sweet. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. So I'm going to just let you start doing all the talking, because while you're talking, for those of you who are on YouTube and who can see this, Bethany brought something. Tell them what you brought.
So I have these little cake snack packs. This one's vanilla. This one is chocolate and vanilla. Sorry, thanks. That one's chocolate. They're great for, over the weekend, I did a big 4-tier wedding cake. So every time you have the cake, you have to level off the top. I have a whole fridge full of cake tops, and so that's what I like to do the snack packs for. I think the cake tops are kind of the best part.
Yeah, your buttercream frosting. This is what I fell in love with when I first met you. Not you, but your frosting. The cake's good too.
Thanks.
But anyway, you're going to talk. We'll talk more about what I'm eating here, but give the information about if people, they should write things down so that they know where to get things from.
Yes, so you can find me on social medias. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Both are Ever So Sweet CT. CT as in Connecticut abbreviation. And you can message me text message on my cell phone, or you can call me. It's area code 401-829-8722. If people want to order, you can message me through social media, either Instagram or Facebook or cell phone.
And tell people some of the things that you can create.
Well, I am somewhat limited with the cottage license restrictions, but aside from those limitations, pretty much anything people want, I can make.
And you bake good.
So I do a lot of mostly cakes, cupcakes, cookies, things along those lines. That's just what the highest demand is for the items that I'm able to make. The cottage food license has restrictions as far as needing temperature to control freshness. You can't have any of those products. So it has to be stable, like to be out on the counter, that sort of thing.
So cottage industry is legit licensure that gives you the, excuse me, I had to put the cake top stuff down because I have to talk to you. I have to stop eating. It gives you, it legitimizes the services that you provide as far as baked goods, correct?
Yeah, so it's licensed home kitchen. So it is out of my home kitchen. It's not a commercial kitchen, but that's why there are some restrictions in that sense. However, it is subject to inspection if somebody wanted to, like from the Department of Consumer Protection, they control all of that. I also had to get the ServSafe certified, all of those things. I got a 98 on my test. I'm still pretty proud of it.
100. Ooh, that's really great. That's great. Part of, I met Bethany when I was still writing stories for the Chronicle.
Yeah.
And so she showed me some of her artwork, and I want to hold this up, or you can hold it up.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if you can, can you zoom stuff?
Yes, I can.
You can. Oh, we can do that. So you guys should look at this visual once it goes live. Okay, so this is Bethany's artwork on a cookie. And the thing that I fell in love with was not only the artwork, because I think it's beautiful, but you know how sometimes people say it looks good, but it probably tastes awful. But you have the looks and the taste. You have both things that are great.
Thank you.
And so if you're going to spend your money and buy a product, I think you should be able to get both, not just one.
Yeah, I feel like there's no sense in putting all of the effort into making something really pretty if it doesn't also taste good, because what's the point? You put a lot of work and effort into something that then is not going to be good. So I definitely need to start with the quality product and then make it really pretty.
So tell us about what are your most used ingredients? And while you talk, I'm going to continue, and I'll give you my review for what I'm eating in a minute. But yeah, most used ingredients.
Sugar, butter, eggs. Those are definitely the top ones. Flour. Yeah, those are the essentials for sure.
So what were you doing when COVID was happening? Were you still baking, or?
I was doing some baking, working on trying to figure out a path, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then the orders that I did have lined up kind of all went away. But everybody sort of had that happen because nobody was having gatherings and events.
Right.
But during the COVID timeframe, a lot of people ended up having small gatherings, small birthday parties, but they wanted to try to make them feel special and big and more significant, even though it was maybe just their immediate family showing up and celebrating, and they weren't renting out a big fun event place or doing the big bouncy house and all that stuff. So they wanted to put in the extra effort for a cake. So I had a lot of people getting small 6-inch cakes, but more elaborately decorated, more elaborately designed, and that sort of thing to try to make their kid's birthday extra special. And it felt pretty good because I got to be a part of helping them make it extra special.
Yeah. And then do you have photos of your things posted somewhere?
Yes. Post a lot on my social medias. However, I've fallen behind a little bit.
Gotta get on
there's so much on my phone that I'm like, oh, I gotta post these. Oh, I gotta post these. I gotta post these. And so hopefully later today I'll end up posting. So I did a wedding cake over this past weekend, which I really want to post. But I did the bridal shower cake, and it's probably a pretty good cake that you made when the next day you get a message from the bride-to-be being like, hey, do you make wedding cakes too?
Hint, hint, huh?
So I was like, I do. And that was a pretty good compliment without being like an outright compliment where, it was for her wedding shower and bridal shower. And then the next day she's like, can you make my wedding cake too?
Well, with those ingredients, now that we can go to the grocery store and a lot of restrictions are lifted, I mean, egg prices were crazy.
Yeah.
Flour prices went crazy. All the things that you use to make your product have increased in price. So how has that impacted your business?
Sugar over the last year has gone up, pretty much doubled in price, which I'm noticing because I go through pounds and pounds and pounds of powdered sugar, and I'm just like, wow, really? Now I gotta pay more attention to, you can't just go to the store and get 10 pounds and not think about what the total is going to be. But now it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I got to make sure I have some cash in my pocket kind of thing. And so sugar prices doubled. The price of oil has gone up a lot. Egg prices have stabilized again, which is pretty nice.
So they're like, what, 3 something or whatever?
I go to Aldi usually a lot, and it's like $1.35 a dozen when I was there the other day.
Back to normal.
Yes. Yes, definitely. But the oil prices have gone up a lot. Crisco has gone up more too. So it's, one goes up, the other one comes back down, so it kind of fluctuates. But I have had to raise prices a little bit over the past year. So like cookie prices, they start at $48 a dozen now. So things like that. Cake prices went up a little bit 6-7 months ago, maybe, something about that. So the ingredient prices have gone up a bit, but I think most of the final product cost comes from the labor more so than the ingredients, because I do like to do the real decorative ones and make them look good, and a lot of that takes a lot of time.
Well, and they are beautiful pieces of artwork, and I just think that I think you could probably put almost anything on a cookie, couldn't you, as far as a design?
Pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, I think that really would make an occasion special. So I saw some of your Yukon Husky ones.
Yeah.
Those are really lovely. So, you can think kind of outside the box as far as that goes. But not only do you make these beautiful cookies and all these other things that you were talking about, but you have a blue thing sitting here on the counter that is another thing that is kind of popular right now. Yeah.
French macarons. They're often mistakenly called macaroons, but macaroons are the coconut ones.
Coconut, yeah.
Yep. So that one O towards the end really...
It does it.
It makes a difference. These are more of a meringue type of a product with buttercream filling, sometimes ganache. It depends on what people order. I kind of stayed away from them for a long time just because I've heard they were really hard to make, and I hadn't really.
Aren't they? They're time intensive, aren't they? No?
A little bit. Yeah. Because you have to make the sugar syrup and then the meringue, and it's Italian meringue, so there's a lot of dishes involved with it. It's more so the issue for me anyway.
Do you have a dishwasher?
Yeah, but most of my stuff doesn't go in
It's
there.
probably big.
Yeah.
Industrial size.
And like you can't put cake pans in the dishwasher because the type of metal that they are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not happening. All right. That's not
So
happening.
I spend a lot of time washing dishes.
Your hands look pretty nice. So it's all right.
Thanks. I got ink. I was fighting with the printer trying to get labels, and it didn't want to register one of the ink cartridges.
Well,
usually it's food coloring, but today it's ink.
No, you don't have any. Well, I see a little pink. Yeah, I see red. I see pink.
Yeah.
Part of what I like about your frosting is the buttercream part of it is that there's a little bit of a crunch in there. Not like the fact that it isn't mixed properly, but it's like creamy. But I don't know. Maybe that's not the fair word. I wish I could describe it better because crunch makes it sound like it's lumpy or clumpy, and it's not that. Because it's smooth. I mean, it makes like this would make an awesome. This is like a whoopie pie deconstructed. Basically, is what I'm eating. Even though it's red velvet cake.
Yeah, it has more air bubbles whipped into it, and it holds a lot more of the air bubbles when you are whipping it up. So it's not that real silky, like. Like it's very smooth, but it has a little kind of. I wouldn't say texture.
I was going to say texture, yeah.
Yeah,
but not texture. Okay, so
there's
I don't want to confuse people.
There's like substance to it, as opposed to it doesn't feel silky, liquidy kind of thing.
Because it's smooth on your tongue and in your mouth, and the baked good is really great. So when I am desperate for something really bad, I will stop at a gas station and get. This is my confession. I'll get Suzy Q's, which is the chocolate spongy cake with the filling. And seriously, I think over the years, the quality has gotten worse, and it tastes worse, and it tastes more like chemicals. So I don't stop at gas stations as much anymore, which is probably a good thing. I mean, what you have is eons better than what I could ever get at a gas station.
Thank you.
So let's talk about how to order something. How would someone go about ordering whatever kind of baked goods? So, and I want people to think broadly, because it's not just cookies and it's not just cakes and wedding cakes, but there are other baked goods out there that you can make. Tell us some of the unique things that you've made too. So order and some of the other things you've made.
Ordering is best through some form of a message. Phone calls sometimes a little hit or miss, but if it's a short deadline where you're trying to order last minute, sometimes I can fit you in. Other times not so much, but if I can, I will. That's usually best for a phone call. But if you have a inspiration picture, those are always really good. So most of the times people will have either one or a few, and it'll be, I saw this online, or I really like this idea, or this one. And if the colors aren't the same colors that you want, that's fine. I don't care about that. Tell me what parts of the picture stand out for you. So what I'm looking at when I see a picture that somebody sends me is going to be completely different from what they're looking at, because just visually I notice different aspects of it from the technical standpoints or whatnot. So if it's something that you're like, I really like this, the way they did the shape of this design, or I really like the style of this kind of filigree, or whatever it might be, tell me what parts of the picture it is that you're looking at. If it's complete wrong colors, that's fine. Tell me what colors you want them instead. Because I can customize whatever the image is. If you're like, I really like this font, but I need it to say something completely different, that's fine. That's easy enough.
Easy. Yeah, right. Easy. And are you working with fondant too? Do you know how to? Yep.
Yeah, I do a lot with fondant. Gum paste, oftentimes, because it hardens more quickly and easily, and so I like to do that for like cake tops, things like that. So you can get a 2-tier cake, but if you have a nice like gum paste decoration thing on top, and it gives a visual like it's a 3-tier cake. So I've had people do that kind of thing in the past too.
Where'd you learn how to do all this stuff, huh? Where did this all come from, all this creativity?
So I went to Johnson & Wales in Providence, so that's a lot of my baking and pastry background, but a lot of stuff we didn't learn, so I've kind of picked up along the way. I wouldn't say I'm self-taught, but in a lot of aspects I've figured out how to do things on my own by YouTube videos sometimes. And, you know, we didn't do cookie decorating at Johnson & Wales. So there's a lot of stuff that I learned through different social media groups and through other people and that sort of thing. But I do have the classical Johnson & Wales background.
J&W. Wow. Yeah. That's pretty awesome. What are some of the most unique things that you've created that you can think of?
Gosh, I'm not too sure.
Do you do ever like any of those like log kind of things that have the cream filling? What are?
Yeah, the roulade.
Yule logs?
Yeah.
Bouche de Noël or something like that?
I have not done any of those since Johnson & Wales, I think, was probably the last time.
Because you had to do that for one of your projects.
Yeah,
right?
Yep, one of the courses, one of the cake classes, it was that one, and then the next day it was something else and all the other things. Yeah. So I haven't had any orders for that, but if it's something that, if somebody's looking on my social media and they're like, I haven't seen you do any of this type of thing or that thing, just because I haven't done it yet doesn't mean that I can't or won't.
Yeah, I think this girl is up for any kind of baking adventure.
Yeah,
like just
pretty
throw
much.
it at you, and you're like, sure, we can make that happen, right?
Yeah, if I haven't done it yet, it's just I haven't gotten an order for it yet. So there's different things that I'm waiting. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but you know.
Has there ever, color-wise, like, has anyone ever had an order where it was all black?
I did a set of cookies about a year and a half ago, and it was all mostly black, some white and silver in the mix, but a lot of black. The downside of that, and I have to warn everybody about those, they look really cool, but there's a lot of food coloring that goes into them, so it does color your mouth, you know, like a kid with popsicles, and then their mouth is kind of stained with the colors for a little bit. So it's the same thing in regards to buttercream and royal icing on cookies. So if there's certain colors that are really dark, chances are it might dye your mouth a little bit. And
truth in advertising here, right?
Yeah.
Good to know. So if you wanted to give yourself a commercial for Ever So Sweet, what would you say about your business? And I should tell the radio audience that she hasn't gotten any questions ahead of time. Like,
no, I was nervous.
So we're basically flying by the seat of our pants, and so this is a very raw, organic thing, and I'm sure that you'll have an answer to the question, but I just want people to know that this is not a scripted thing, and I have paper in front of me, but I don't have like these kinds of questions. So.
Yeah, I've got the long COVID stuff that I've been dealing with, so the memory recall is a little slower. So, so I'm hoping I sound normal.
It's kind of slow burn, isn't it?
Yeah. I feel like this past year has been like my lost year. The fatigue has been pretty bad, so I haven't been doing as much as I would like, but hoping to change that moving forward, working on it.
And we have to talk about your Facebook page.
Yes.
So talk about that, because that's kind of exciting.
As of right before we got on the air, 999 followers on Facebook, and I am hoping to do a nice fun giveaway for 1,000. And if anyone's listening, go like my Facebook page, because then we can announce on air that I have 1,000 Facebook followers.
So the name of your page is
Ever So Sweet, and it has the gum paste white rose. And if you go to it's at Ever So Sweet CT, and give me a follow.
Yep. So we're still at $9.99. So I'm gonna hope that by the time you leave the station and go home, that you'll hit your 4 digits.
I'm sure hoping so. And in the past, I have done a couple giveaways for different milestones. I think the first one was at, I think it was 400, and then I forget what the other one
Was that
was.
cupcakes? Because I think I remember that one.
Yeah, I did the cupcake giveaway.
I got some goods on that one.
Yeah, it was great because a lot of people, if you hear somebody, oh, they make really great stuff, okay, but until you try them, you're not really gonna necessarily be waiting to save the phone number and the business card and just be waiting for your next event. And so it was a good way to get people to try the cakes, and then when their kid's birthday party came around, or their uncle's retirement party, or whatever the occasion is, they were like, well, I know that this is a good quality cake, and I trust you to make an elaborate 2-tier cake. And if you haven't tried the cake before, then it's a little more questionable, because if it's a big important party, you want to know the cake's going to be good.
Sure. Yeah.
So it was a really great way for people in town to try the cake and know that it was good. And in addition to just the pictures that they could see online.
Well,
and then
it is good. It was good. I'm just going to, for the people who have the visual, I'm showing my half-empty container of the cake bits with the lovely buttercream icing. Let's hope that you hit 1,000 by the time you get home on Facebook, guys. One more person is all it will take to get there, so that'll be exciting. I want to thank you, Bethany, for coming in today from Ever So Sweet, name of a song, right? That's what you told me earlier.
Yeah, yep. It was actually a song when I was at Johnson & Wales, and we had to do, it was a big independent study for business entrepreneurship, so I had to write a business plan, and a lot of study music was this band called The Early November, and it was great because it kept me awake, but it wasn't enough where it took my mind off of what I was trying to work on. So it was like the perfect background
there you go.
kind of thing for me. So it had significance with the business plan and baking, and I just love it, and it fits, so it worked.
So Ever So Sweet, we're on social media. Guys, go to Facebook, find all the goodies there. This is Ruth Hartunian-Ellenbaugh. You will get to hear archive versions of in the next few weeks of Ravings and Cravings. But for today, I'm signing off on Good Company, WILI.